Hey guys, hello and welcome to our channel, the EFC Hour. We're your host Salman,
I am Asif.
and on this channel we'll be covering topics relating EFC, MMA, and Habib.
For those of you who may not know EFC is Eagles Fight Club. It's a new fight promotion founded by the one and only Habib Nurmagomedov.
Habib was one of the greatest UFC champions with an unblemished record of 29-0, and after the unfortunate passing of his father and coach Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, Habib decided to walk away from the sport after defeating Justin Gaethje at UFC 254.
Well, he's back now as a promoter and is looking for new and hungry fighters to showcase in his promotion, also looking to give them a platform to display their skills.
So be sure to subscribe, like, and follow for more EFC, MMA, and Habib.
Hey guys, in this video we are going to be covering the EFC 44 event main card, which was kicked off by Raymond Magomedov versus Anthony Njokuani. Saman, your thoughts?
Man, first off, how do you feel? The first episode of the
Dude.
EFC Hour?
It was as I expected it to
Yeah?
be. It was exciting. It was thrilling. It had everything that a card should have.
No, I was saying our first episode of the EFC Hour. How do you feel?
How do I feel
Yeah.
about this? I mean, I feel good, man, that
Yeah.
we're doing this. I mean,
The first time.
this has been a long time coming for me,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about our journey covering the EFC events.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait. Lots of exciting fighters. A lot of exciting
Yep.
events coming up. Lots of fun fights to cover, man. Lots of fun fights.
Definitely. I mean, wherever Habib is, there is fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
All right, let's get into the event, the first fight of the night, main card, Raymond Magomedov versus Anthony Njokuani. Your thoughts?
Man, fireworks. That fight started off with just like right off the bat.
Right,
I did not
exactly.
expect the first fight on the card to be that exciting.
Yep.
That was amazing. That was a good fight to watch.
Yeah, both fighters brought everything they had to the cage. It didn't last too long, but
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more of them fighting. But we just see the difference in the technicals and the power, bro.
Like Raymond just seems so seasoned. He seemed like a veteran fighter.
Right.
He did not look rusty. He didn't look like he was like a new guy. He came into the cage like trying to prove that he's one of the best.
Even though he had only 9 fights under his belt, professional fights, and Anthony's record is like, I believe it's like 31 matches,
31.
17 wins, and the rest are losses.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Raymond did not look like he's a new fighter.
Even the cast, they were just talking about Anthony Njokuani and how his record speaks for itself. He's a really good kickboxer and all this. So I'm expecting, okay, these guys gonna come in and maybe take out Raymond, but Raymond came in, took the center right away,
yeah.
kept that pressure, kept that pace. They traded a few kicks, but then when Raymond threw those kicks, he threw it with like bad intention. He was trying to take him out.
We could see the difference in the power, right, in the kicks.
Yeah.
When Raymond went for those check kicks, which are so difficult to see, man, by anyone. But those check kicks landed flush on them,
Yeah,
on
clean,
Anthony. I
clean.
think the first clean check mark kick that he had on Njokuani, I think he faced Njokuani right there.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony like expected that kind of kick to come that quick and landed so clean. And then when he took him down with that first inside trip, it was end of the fight at that point. And then that pressure,
Exactly.
the Dagestani pressure is next level.
Dude, these Dagestanis are taking over, man.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
but man, he looks like he could compete with like some of the greats. Like,
Oh, dude, this
The
kid
hero-
has a bright future. He's just 31 now. I mean, he's definitely got a long way ahead of him, but definitely a bright future. I mean, if the UFC is looking to get someone, I think these are the kind of fighters that UFC needs to get. into the
100%,
promotion.
100%. He reminded me of the type of fights that Hamzat is in, where it's always one-sided. He comes in with bad intention,
Yep.
just dominates from start to finish, and then takes the guy out.
Right. And also, I'm glad you brought Hamzat up because Raymond also fights in 2 divisions. He fights in 1FC.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He fights at 185 and 170.
Yeah.
Also, not to forget, this is a new division in EFC 175.
Yeah.
They both fought at 175.
Yeah.
So I think it's a new division. It's an exciting division as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the fighters don't have to kill themselves to make weight. I
Right.
mean, yeah.
Habib's doing a really good
Yeah.
job at spacing out the divisions, so fighters can not only watch their weight cut so it's not killing them before the fight, but also if they want to dominate a division and then we go double champ,
Yep.
now it becomes a lot more easier, you know, so they don't have to have such a huge drastic
Right.
change between weights. So yeah, 175.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
both of them look comfortable, right? They look
Yeah.
good in their weights. Yeah, weight was not an issue over here, but the power was
The
definitely.
power,
and
man. He looked.
wrestling,
You think he looked a little bigger than Anthony Raymond?
not necessarily. I think they both looked almost equal.
The same.
Yeah.
He definitely looks stronger, but maybe it's the way he
It's-
dominated.
No, it's actually the technique they use. Their hip movement, once they take the fighter to the ground, they just know where to put their body.
His back reminded me of the time where Habib took down Connor, and there was this aerial view of the camera looking down. All you could see is Connor just trying to gasp for air,
Right,
and then
right.
you see Khabib just his back muscles
Yeah.
just like flexing, and he's just controlling him against the cage,
Yep.
and using his shoulders and all this different. Like they call it chain wrestling. They don't just wrestle for a takedown.
Right.
They go for a takedown. If they don't get it, they go for an ankle, whatever they get,
Yep.
and they slowly, methodically climb up until they get the position they want. The same way.
It's
it
like, more
remi-
like being a snake, you know. I mean, once
Yeah.
a snake gets you, just the more you struggle, the more you get wrapped up
Yeah.
inside of it.
It's not like they're classic wrestlers where they go for a takedown
Yep.
and then that's it. No, they try to get anything they can, and once they get it, they'll eventually keep grinding. They play for the long game. They don't
Yeah.
play for the takedown. Oh, I don't get it. Whatever. Let's reset.
Yep.
They keep attacking. And Raymond and these
Plus, with this
Dagestani
newer
guys.
Dagestani generation, right? They're not just good at wrestling. I mean, we know they are good at sambo and wrestling, but they're not good at stand-up fights as well now. The check
Yeah.
kicks that he threw, those were the ones that
That
actually
checkmark
phased
kick right
Anthony
away.
out, right? I mean, it wasn't the wrestling. Wrestling came towards the end,
Yeah.
but it was those kicks that actually started off Anthony's decline in the fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to think this guy's only got a 9-1 record,
Yep.
it would
I-
seem like he's got way more fights
Yep,
under him.
Exactly. You know, Anthony, something interesting about Anthony, he actually fights bare knuckle.
He fights bare knuckle.
Bare knuckle, yep.
Wow,
And he
man.
enjoys it. I was
Really?
watching one of his interviews and he was saying, like, I enjoy bare knuckle
No
more
way.
than normal fighting. So,
Dang. Well, I mean, I know that they pay a little bit more. Like, I don't know if you read that. I was reading about Francis
Mm-hmm.
and how he made about 600,000 in his last title defense
what, gun?
versus Gunn. Yeah,
Okay.
and then Chad Mendes
That's
in his
it? He only made
debut.
600,000?
Yeah, right. That's why
Really?
he's going against all of this like negotiations and
Right,
stuff
right,
because
right.
the man's not getting paid. And then Chad Mendes. He made his debut in bare knuckle, and he also made 600,000. I don't know if the
Dang.
article is legit. I hope. I don't know. I hope Francis is making a lot more.
Yep.
Hopefully on the back end with
Right,
the
right.
pay-per-views and stuff. But if he's making only 600,000 and then bare knuckle's paying them more, then
That's
I wouldn't.
dangerous for
Yeah.
bare knuckle. I mean, I think recently one of the fighters got killed, right?
Yeah,
Fighting?
yeah. I think someone took
I think
a
that's the
really.
reason they pay more because there is an actual chance of dying. I mean, in the cage itself with the gloves on, there is some chance of dying too. But
Yeah.
bare knuckle, there's even more chance of
There's
dying.
no padding.
Yep,
It's
yep.
straight, just knuckle to
Exactly.
knuckle. You know,
Yep.
and every fight is bloody.
You know who made bare knuckle actually popular? Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo
Kimbo
Slice?
Slice and Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, yeah, they used to
actually
play in the
both fought
backyard.
In the backyard, and Kimbo was like the reigning champion of bare knuckle.
Oh, my
But then
God.
Masvidal came in and he knocked out Kimbo Slice.
Masvidal?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's
bro.
how he got so popular, Masvidal.
Yeah, no wonder he's so popular in Florida
Yeah.
and all these guys.
Yep.
Wow, he's a fan favorite for sure. He has a fight coming up too, right?
Yeah, with Covington on March 5th.
Oh my God, yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be exciting.
It is.
But going back to Anthony and Raymond, I mean Anthony, he looked good. He just seemed a little outclassed,
Yeah.
and if he just picks himself back up, maybe he can make another run for it. But
I think
for
I think he tried to get up again, and then Raymond slammed him back. So after the first takedown, so after the few first check kicks that Raymond threw at Anthony, Anthony tried to cover the distance, close the gap between them by coming in towards Raymond, but
Yeah.
Raymond threw a spinning back kick. Which
yeah.
hurt Anthony. Then they both got into a clinch. Then Raymond took him down. And
He
did some
just
ground and
dominated
pound.
him till
and
the
then
end.
Anthony got up again, and then Raymond slammed him down again.
yeah,
and then he
he's
just
too
started punching
strong,
him.
bro. This
Yep.
man's too strong.
Yep.
It's these guys are like tigers, man. These Dagestani guys from
Yep.
Mahaj I don't know how to say it, but these Dagestani wrestlers, they're just
Yep.
so just the ferocity.
Yeah, I think Raymond is also Khabib's teammate. He fights from
Eagles MMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd definitely love to see more of Raymond.
100%.
I would
100%.
love to see
Yeah.
Hamzat find Raymond. They
Oh
have
my
such
God.
a similar
It's
fighting
such a similar
style.
fighting style.
I don't think they'll ever fight each other.
They usually don't.
They don't.
Yeah, they usually don't fight each other.
When they're
Like
coming
this-
from the same region, they
Yeah.
very rarely fight each other.
Yeah. And that's why I think Hamza, when he was in the news and they're talking about Khabib and stuff, he said I wouldn't fight him because he's like a brother, you know.
Right.
He's Muslim, I'm Muslim. We fight from the same area. We train in the same. So they tend to kind of avoid each other. But I mean, if it comes down to it, they will.
Yeah.
But man, that would be crazy if he fights Hamza. That would be insane. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, the fight didn't last too long, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. Let's move on to the next fight of the night, which was between Ramazan Kuramagomedov versus John Howard.
A little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit more competitive, I think, than. I mean, obviously, it went
Right.
the distance, 3 rounds.
This was 175 as well, right?
This was it
175,
was
yep.
it was 175 a new
To me,
division.
honestly, my thoughts on this fight, I think it was a bit monotonous.
Yeah.
It was a bit less exciting as I would have expected it to be. But yeah, I mean, Ramazan did everything right in this. He played very technical. He
played the smart game. He played the points
stuck to what
game.
he's good with. Maybe because he's trying to also compete with Khabib having a clean record. He's a 10-0 now.
Yeah.
So he's got like 10 fight win streak, which is really good, very impressive. And he's just 25 years old, so I don't think he wants to take too many risks at this moment.
Yeah, but the thing is, man, you have to in these type of platforms where Khabib is doing so much to bring new eyes and new people to the sport, and potentially even get these guys signed in the UFC, Bellator, and so on. You have to showcase your talent. You have to showcase yourself. Like Raymond Magomedov, like we just spoke earlier, he not only came in and dominated, he came in to prove something.
Yeah.
He made a name for himself. So now when I'm watching as a fan, I'm gonna look for this guy.
Right.
Ramzan, Kamaru Usman was talking about him, saying he's a teammate. He's a really good guy in the gym.
Right.
He's insane work ethic. But then once they leave the cage, he's the nicest guy. Yeah, great backstory. But when you see the man's fight, if you're just gonna hold the guy down and keep your head in his chest for 3 rounds, that's
Which is
hard
very
to
impressive
sell.
by itself. But we've always seen that, right? We've always
Yeah.
seen Khabib do that. We've always seen Hamza doing that right now. We want to see something else from these Dagestani fighters.
Yeah.
We want to see you mix it up.
But with Khabib and even now with Hamza, Khabib was not just holding people down. He was advancing
Right.
to do other things.
Right.
You've never seen a referee pull Khabib off of an opponent because he didn't do anything or just held him down or give him a warning. He did certain things to get the back or the hips or the arms. He would, control the wrist like DC would, do when he used to wrestle. DC, I think, said he taught him to do that or something. They go back and forth, but like he held his wrist and then he'll interlock the legs.
Right.
You see he's doing technical skills.
That's
that-
something new to our eyes. We haven't seen that
yeah.
done before by anyone.
Right.
So
But Khabib did more
yeah,
with those
exactly.
moves.
So
Once
when
he has
Khabib
that.
brought it to the cage, it was exciting to see that.
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean, I get it. He's very good at that. But if you're just gonna keep your head in the guy's chest the entire fight and just drag it out and do, just have ground control, it's hard to get excited for that.
Yeah.
Even though it's fun to see he's being very technical.
Right.
But he's fought in Dana White's Contender Series,
He did, yeah. He didn't get signed, though.
He didn't get signed, even
Yeah.
though he won the fight.
Yeah.
He still didn't get signed.
maybe Chael was alluding to this, saying that maybe he didn't get signed because he was a bit boring.
Yeah,
Even
it's
though
hard.
he won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad to say that he's boring and he's still winning fights, but
Yeah.
it's a business. You gotta have a little showmanship.
Yep.
If you're not gonna talk, at least your game has to talk for you. So
But-
and the worst part about it is, so Kamaru was, bigging, like he's giving him so much
He was trying to make a case for him, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's
he
trying
was
to
saying this
get-
man has a lot more to prove than
Yeah.
just wrestling.
Yep.
And he's been advocating, saying this guy can strike with the best of them. He has that hand-to-hand. He's got the ground game. He's got the stand-up. And we saw little bits of it.
Yeah.
When they threw those kicks,
Yep.
he threw some really fancy
He did,
kicks
he
in
did.
there. And I'm like, bro, just keep up with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, you've already in the first round, right? When Howard just charged at him with a flurry of punches, right?
Yeah.
And Ramzan did a very smart thing. He ducked and he clinched Howard. and he pushed him towards
Right.
the case, and he inside tripped him and took it down.
Yeah.
Put him on the ground for the whole round and gassed Howard out. We could see when Howard went back to his corner, coming to the second round, Howard was
He
gassed
didn't
out.
look the same, bro.
You've already made him tired right now.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to prove your wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
Stand up. When we know your stand up is so good, utilize it, use it to show the rest of the people how good you are.
Yeah.
So if you want to make it to the UFC, you have to be good on your feet. You have to be fancy on your feet, to be honest. Yes, you're wrestling, no matter how good your wrestling is, but stand up gets more eyes to the game.
Yeah, or at least something that you can
Yeah,
use
something
to sell
different.
yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what one of the things Kobe Covington ran into. He was
Right.
winning fights, but he was on the borderline of getting cut. They warned him, like, after this fight, you may be cut because you're
You have to
not
be interesting,
sellable.
right? Yeah.
You're not bringing anything new. You're not bringing new fans
Right.
to the sport. So, yeah, I mean, he had a dominant performance. Kudos to him, but he's got to do something a little bit more. Use what he has. He has got more tricks in his bag.
Yep.
Just use a little bit more of that, and then he's gonna go a long way because he's gonna dominate no matter who he fights.
But then again, he does fight for Khabib as in the same Eagles MMA. So I'm pretty sure Khabib knows this as well. He's just because he's still young. I think Khabib wants him to focus more on his what he knows already than to bring in more later on. you
Okay.
know. So he's just 25, bro. He's got a long way ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots to learn.
If he'll be dangerous in his prime,
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
100% he'll be dangerous.
Exactly. Speaking of John Howard, I mean, the age difference was like, what, 13 years?
13,
13
yeah.
years. John Howard was 38. But even at 38, he looked good. I mean,
He put up a
he
fight.
Did, he did try to put a fight with them. I mean,
Yeah.
on the feet, John Howard was trying everything he could,
Yeah.
to have a good fight.
He was fighting out of those positions as fast as he
Yep,
could, and
yep.
he tried to get out.
Yep,
He
yep.
tried to get his hips under him,
Yep.
tried to cage crawl. He did
Yep.
whatever he could. He looked a little bit stronger than
Yeah.
Anthony. Like I keep alluding back to that because they both got dominated.
Yeah.
But in this fight, at least Howard was fighting back
yes.
and using his power,
Yep.
using his hips, doing what he could to get out of those positions. It's just unfortunate these guys aren't at the level of these Dagestani
Yep.
wrestlers. But yeah, Howard did what he could. It just didn't translate to a win.
It was still a good fight to watch, though, Evan. Yeah.
Definitely a good fight.
Yeah.
Fun fight.
All right, let's move on to the next fight.
Third fight. I think this one was with Ray Borg versus Cody Gibson.
Dude, yep, this was the
Oh, man, yeah, this was my favorite fight of
Dude,
the
it was
night.
definitely the fight of the night.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
if
was
there
so
were awards
good.
being given, I think this fight deserved the fight of the night.
Yeah.
This
100%.
fight had every single thing that we could ask from a fight. As a fight fan, I got everything from this fight. There was wrestling, there was a lot of back and forth, there was scrambling, there was some jiu-jitsu also, and then there was like a turn of tables as well.
Yeah.
So
was.
just start off with the first round. What do you
Man,
think?
when I first saw that round, I thought, man, Ray Borg, they're talking about him so highly. Like, they're saying he's one of the greatest. He was really good. He had a bad string of injuries that,
Right.
kept him out of the game or whatever. So I'm looking at him like, okay, he's going to be really good. And then he just gets outclassed almost. Like, he looked like he didn't belong in there. And then I felt like the reach was going to be a problem for him the entire night.
There was a reach difference of 8 inches, bro. Between
Oh
the
my
two of them,
God,
between
yeah, and I'm
Cody
like-
and Rebog, and Rebog was on the lower end. So 8-inch reach difference is a lot.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, how is this man gonna get inside of that pocket, get inside that reach, and use his boxing or wrestling? He's not gonna get in there. But
And
then-
he couldn't, right? For the first round, he couldn't
couldn't,
find his rhythm
yeah.
at all, which I think Cody took full advantage of.
Right.
Dude, he threw so many punches, Cody, at Rebog. Like, it was like, okay, I mean, how is this guy even standing? Rebog, yeah?
Yeah.
How is this guy even standing? But then I don't think those punches were as hard as, they seem on the screen, at least.
Well, he had a good flurry, right? He kept applying pressure and coming at him with multiple punches and combinations. But the one thing I wasn't a fan of from Cody's offense was his punches were a lot of looping punches.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
very outside overhand, but he's charging with overhands. So obviously the shortest distance is gonna create the most impact,
Right.
directional,
Yep.
straight shots, straight punches, setting him up with the jab. This man's just throwing wide looping
Yeah.
punches.
In fact, it's more
Some-
like a zombie, bro. Like a zombie just flinging his arms.
Yeah. And I felt like that could have been a problem later on because it's easier to see when it's coming from the peripheral. You can see a lot
right.
more. It's more easier to coordinate and get out of those.
Although his volume was much more higher than Raybog's, most of his punches were just hitting the air.
He was missing a lot.
he was
he was
missing a
missing a
lot,
lot. Yeah. And I don't know what happened in the second round, but there was some switch in Ray Borg. Maybe his
Dude, the one punch to the liver,
that gut shot
which brought Cody's arm right down
right away.
Right. I think that one point was a changing moment in the in the fight.
I agree. I agree. That was one of the moments where you knew, okay, his boxing is on another level.
Right.
The way he's throwing his jabs and his punches, getting inside of his range, and he figured out the distance. Once he figured out the distance, he's like, okay, now I know exactly where I need to be.
Exactly. We could see the difference in power, right? Once Reebok started throwing punches at Cody now, we could see the difference in power.
Yeah.
Even though they were both exchanging, Reebok's punches was much more harder than Cody's. You could see the damage on Cody's face, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it was lit up.
It was crazy to watch, and he's such a significantly smaller man, and for him to use the jab and to have a stronger punch, it's not. And he wasn't even bigger in his stature. He was actually much smaller. He looked on the feet, but the way he was throwing it, setting them up, he was precise with his punches. That's why it were affecting Cody a lot more.
See, that's one of the advantages when you're short. They say that when you're short, your head movement is much better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. When you're short, your head movement much better. So he made Cody miss a lot of shots because of his head movement. And then he was countering back. Once he found a gap, once he found a way to close the gap, he was countering perfectly. He was making Cody miss and was giving those body shots. And body shots add up, bro. I'm telling you, body shots add up. So Cody did the right thing towards the end of this round 2. I think Cody tried to get a clinch and take Reebok down, but he did get the takedown, but Reebok reversed it back on Cody.
Yeah.
Dude, that was amazing
and
to see.
And the way he reversed it, he reversed it like he had some vengeance. Like he had to prove that this man doesn't belong in the ring with him. Bro, he threw a reverse back kick. He threw some fancy kicks. Like I did not expect that from Ray Borg on a bigger opponent.
After the mid-second round, Reebok had an answer for everything Cody was doing.
Everything.
On the ground, on jiu-jitsu, bro. He's almost got him in the lock too.
The scrambles, he was right away. He wasn't like he wasn't trying to ride out the round. Immediately when he was taken down, he was fighting the cage crawling and getting out of those positions right away. Reverse back kick, I'm still like shocked about like how he threw that on a bigger guy. It's so hard to set that up, let alone land it. And he landed it clean. And then at the third round, up kick.
To end the fight with that up kick, dude. That was,
oh my God.
Anybody else would have just gone to sleep there, bro. I mean, props to Cody for taking that kind of damage and just standing on his feet later on. It definitely an exciting fight. The third round is what? So in the third round, Reebok gave a few punches to Cody and took him down as well, right?
Yeah. And then they started. Well, before that, they had they were boxing in the clinch, so that dirty boxing. And once they were on the ground and Cody was on top of him, he was throwing those elbows. Those close, like hammer fists and elbows are what cut up Cody like really badly because they're short distance, and so he's using his elbows and slicing him up. Man, that kind of reminded me of Tony Ferguson. The way he throws his elbows. Once he gets inside, that's his territory. So. Kind of reminded me of that.
So both these fighters are coming out of UFC. They were both let go from UFC.
Oh man!
But Dana should reconsider that. Definitely reconsider that. He should consider calling them back.
100%.
After this kind of fight, I mean, I would love to follow their journey after this.
Even Cody, man, he looked good. Like so, he's actually a teacher and a coach by profession.
Really?
Yeah. So
I think I was watching one of his interviews, and he has a great work ethic. He wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning
before school.
That's crazy. Train, and then goes to school, teaches, and then trains after school as well. So
that's crazy. It reminds me of Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes used to be a math teacher before the UFC. I don't know if he still teaches, but it's crazy.
You know what Cody Gibson teaches?
Cody Gibson, I know he's a wrestling coach, and I don't know what he teaches, but they say he's a teacher and he trains before going to school. It's crazy.
Also, the age difference did come into play over here as well. I mean, Reebok is 28 now?
He's only 28. He's got a record of like 14-5, I think.
15-5 with this one then.
15 now,
15 now, yeah. And I think Cody Gibson is at 34 now. He's 34 years old. Yeah. But he didn't look like he was slow, Cody, though. He was still
Cody
fast,
looked good. Cody looked good. He just got to watch those looping, wide punches. Those are easy to,
dodge, right?
Yeah. See them coming.
Fun fact about Ray Borg, he was in the bus that Connor threw a dolly at,
No way.
and he was actually hurt in the bus.
He was in that? Oh, he's one of them that was
One of
hurt?
them who got hurt.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
I think Michael Chiesa, like his eye
Yep, he
got
hurt.
cut
So
pretty bad.
Reebok, Michael Chiesa, one of the female fighters, also got hurt.
I think Rose.
Rose? Was
yeah,
it
she
Rose?
was like
Yeah, I think so,
traumatized
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, it was crazy.
So yeah, and Ray Borg was also scheduled to fight Brandon Moreno
No
in
way.
UFC at bantamweight. Yep.
Was this before, like right before he was injured?
Yeah, right before the injury.
man,
I
damn
think the fight
injuries.
didn't happen because of the injuries too.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was scheduled to happen. Then Ray Borg, fell sick or something. He's had a stream of bad luck with injuries, bro.
Yeah, man. These injuries, man.
Yep.
It takes away from the fighters' like
Yep.
potential.
Exactly.
You can't even see like some of their best fights because of these injuries.
But they both look great now, bro. I mean, they should be given a second shot at UFC.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
they're in their prime.
Yep.
Like they should 100%.
These guys came into the fight like they wanted to prove something.
Yeah.
They wanted
Yeah.
to prove that injuries. Yes, we did have injuries, but we can come back from them.
100%.
Yep,
100%. They should definitely be given a second chance.
Okay, let's move on to the co-main event of the night. Was the
Sugar
return-
Rashad Evans.
Return of the Sugar Rashad Evans, yes,
Man.
versus Gabriel Checo.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting. I was nervous, man. I was like, how is he gonna perform? Because he left the UFC on a string of losses, like 5 in a row. Granted, he was battling injuries and he had knee injuries. Like Kamaru alluded on that too. Like he had an injury that took him off for 6 months and another one, and then his ACL didn't. His body didn't accept it right away, so then he had to go into rehab. But then it was out for 2 years, and he couldn't take too long of a gap, so he kind of jumped in earlier than he should have. And long story short, he just kept having bad luck with those fights.
It's never easy to come back from a knee injury, right?
It's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's tough.
It is. But then, I mean, what a return, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
he looked like the old Rashad. He looked
did not
dominant.
look like he aged at all.
Yeah. I would never think
I don't know
he's
if it
in
was
his
the
40s.
opponent, but yeah, I mean, he looked so good. He played so technical, Rashad. I mean, he stuck to the basic, that is the wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he found his positions and he went into him right away. He
Easily.
didn't, try anything new.
So the first round, right, Gabriel threw a lot of low kicks, which were landing pretty heavy on Rashad Evans, but Rashad wasn't even checking them. I think he was setting bait
Yeah.
for Gabriel to keep throwing those, and one of the kicks that he Gabriel threw, he just caught it and took him down and put him on the ground.
I was nervous when he kept throwing those heavy kicks and Rashad wasn't checking. I'm
Right.
like, what is he doing, dude? Is
Right.
he going to get, dominated by
Yep,
this
yep.
guy? I mean, Gabriel, props to him from being in the cage, but I don't know much about him. I tried looking up his amateur record. All I found were submission underground
Yep.
contests, Chael Sonnen's.
Yep, there's not much known about Gabriel right now.
Yeah, he's got like a 12-5
Yeah.
record, but not really an MMA type record.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, how is this guy gonna do
Go
this to
against the
Rashad?
legend,
Is Rashad really gonna be able to compete right now? He's taking so many unchecked. He's not answering any of these
Right.
kicks. But then I think he set him up, bro. I think he set him up because he wanted to see what this guy's doing.
Right.
And once Rashad got kind of comfortable with the range,
Right.
he knew what to expect,
Yep.
and kind of he baited him almost.
Yep.
He baited him
Yep.
into feeling comfortable and throwing those kicks. And then as soon as he threw one of the kicks, Rashad picked it up, punch, jab,
Took him
whatever it was.
down.
Leg trip,
Yep.
and just controlled him,
And
dominated
yeah,
him.
he took him in the crucifix position. He got
Yeah.
the crucifix on him, then just put him on the ground throughout the whole fight, the first round at least. He gassed him out in the first round. Coming to the second round as well, right? I mean, Gabriel had started to become very predictable. He should have done something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was
he
landing.
did throw a good spinning kick, but he wasn't following it up.
Yeah.
After it was, he did throw a good spinning kick.
landed a
on
capoeira kick.
Yeah, Rashad in the second round, I think
Yeah.
he landed a good spin kick and he landed perfectly on Rashad.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't follow up after that.
He didn't, and
He
then
just
even
waited
on the
for-
ground, he
yeah.
was just fighting for the ankle lock or the knee.
Exactly. Once he was on the
leg
ground, he
lock.
was just going for that ankle lock,
Yeah.
which he was getting, but he didn't know how to execute it.
Yeah, he just wasn't doing much, and this is so funny. But Chael was saying he's losing every position.
Yeah.
He lost every position.
Yeah.
Whenever they're fighting positions, he just wasn't able to keep up at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I think he had a better chance of standing with him
Yeah.
than trying to go for his knee, go for his
Right.
leg. Because I don't know if he was trying to do it purposely, but we all know he has bad knees.
Right.
So he maybe tried to go for the knee. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he had. I don't know. I mean, you got to win by any means.
I think Gabriel did lack a bit of preparation. I mean, coming into this fight, he should have known he's going to fight a legend, that is Rashad Evans. Rashad has fought the best of the best in the heavyweight division, light heavyweight division.
Light heavyweight, yeah.
He's fought Forrest Griffin, from whom he won the light heavyweight championship. He's fought Michael Bisping. He's fought Chael Sonnen. He's fought Tito Ortiz. He's fought Tito Ortiz, and he's beat all of these people. He not just fight them; he's beaten all of these people.
That's crazy. These
And he
are the
lost to
legends.
John Jones. Losing to John Jones is still a big achievement.
Yeah.
Bro. Being in the cage with John Jones is still a big achievement. And,
Right.
You know, so Rashad knows his game. So I think experience played a lot in this fight with Gabriel.
100%.
Gabriel lacked experience, definitely. He lacked preparation, is what I felt. And he was being a bit too lazy as well. When he was throwing those kicks, he wasn't pulling back his kicks as soon as possible.
It was easy to read for. I mean, Rashad's he's a professional, and also he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
So he's gonna know exactly what to do. You can't mess with these guys like that. He's a seasoned vet like that. If you're not pulling back your punches and you're not pulling back your kicks right away, he's gonna tear you apart.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
He dominated him.
Yep. I mean, it was a good fight, though. I mean, all in all, it was a great fight.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Rashad's return. Great return fight to have. Do you think he's gonna stick around?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, the fan in me wants him to come back,
Right.
but also I don't want him to look bad.
Yeah.
Like, you remember what with like Chuck and Tito,
Right.
they kept fighting way past their prime, way past than they should have.
Yeah.
They just look bad, and it's sad to see when a fighter fights so far out from their capability.
Yeah,
And
Rashad's what, 44 now?
Rashad's 44, but he's on a fruitarian diet. It's
Right.
fruits and vegetables strictly.
Really?
So it looks good. He's like, it helped him with the inflammation. It helped him with the joint pain and all of that. So he said he looks good. Like he said, he feels good. He feels better than he felt in years. I think that's also part of the recovery process. He hasn't been in MMA, training camps for years. So his body.
When he retired in 2018, right?
2018 or
I
he was
think
supposed to come back. He was rumored to come back in 2019,
Okay.
and then I think he considered bare knuckle or something. And
Rashad bare knuckles?
Yeah, I think he wanted to compete at a certain level.
Okay.
And then he heard from Habib.
The Eagle, yeah.
Yeah, the Eagle. And Habib is a great great advocate for the sport, and he understands fighters, and he knows Rashad's a legend.
Yep.
He even said he'd love for him to come back.
Yeah.
So
I think Rashad, I think he said in one of his interviews after this he wants to go into coaching or something like that.
I mean, he'd be an amazing coach for sure. He started the Black Zillions, where I think Kamaru Usman was given a chance. All these great fighters came from that gym. So yeah, he has a really good fight IQ. He's got that fighter's mind, and I'm sure he'd be a great coach.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, if he does come back to fight, we'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't want him to come back,
Right.
but
never say never, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
Yeah.
I think Rashad's done enough for the sport already. So I think even if he rides off in the sunset, I'll still be happy.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
At least he's ending his career on a win. With
Yeah,
this.
on a good note,
Yeah.
and he looked good, man. He looked good. It was
Definitely.
fun to watch him.
Yeah. As for Gabriel goes, I think he needs to go back to the whiteboard, just look into all his weaknesses, train on his wrestling, on his stand-up game a little bit as well, and I think
He had moments
Yeah,
though.
he did.
He had moments. He just didn't, follow out through with them.
Yeah.
And he kept going for that damn ankle or knee thing, whatever.
Maybe he didn't have anything else to do, bro. I mean, maybe he didn't have
He
an
threw
answer.
good kicks though. It looked like when he was throwing them, he had good form when he was throwing them.
Could be.
But he just
Wasn't
didn't
in line?
follow up with them. He just, was reacting.
Right.
And then when he got taken down, he went straight for the leg.
Right.
Tried to get the knee in a compromising position, hoping that, I don't know, maybe Rashad will tap or whatever. But he just, like you said, he needs to prepare better, and he needs to work a little bit more on his hands.
Right.
Maybe the camps that he's in, they're not really challenging him, and he's just stronger and dominating them. So he might have to change his camp or
But
change the way
definitely a
he's...
learning experience for Gabriel, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
100%.
Experience takes you a long way, bro. And fighting experienced fighters takes you a long way.
Yeah, especially getting dominated for that long.
Fight IQ is also very necessary, bro.
Yeah.
Even though you are very good at what you do, fight IQ is what matters
Yeah.
when you're in the cage.
It's crazy. It's like So when I'm gonna jump to boxing for a little bit, but when Mayweather fought, who was that one fight? Who's the man?
Pacquiao?
No, I'm done. Sorry, not Pacquiao. The champion right now.
Jake Paul?
No. When Floyd Mayweather, he fought him a couple of years ago. Man, I'm losing my mind.
He fought Conor.
Sorry, Canelo. I keep losing out of my
Canelo,
mind,
yep.
slipped my mind. But when he fought Canelo, he dominated Canelo with just his defense,
Mm-hmm.
defense and jab. And now you see Canelo applying that same tactics, that same game on his opponents.
Right.
Because he's learned from that.
Yep.
He got dominated and Canelo was in his prime, and he got dominated from
Right.
start to finish by Mayweather. So now he took that and he applied it into his own game, and now he's doing the same. His defense, you'll see him slipping through punches like it's beautiful to watch. And
Definitely.
like you said, the experience takes you a long way.
Yeah.
So it's a humbling experience, but also it's a learning experience.
Right.
And sometimes a defeat is the best learning experience
true.
you'll get in life.
It's very true. All right, let's get into the main event on the main card. Sergey
Spahn.
Kharitonov versus Tyrone Spahn.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
they call Sergey the Russian bear. Yep, that's
Russian
what he's
bear,
called.
bro. He looked like the Russian bear.
He definitely looked the part, right?
Coming in at 264, he looked like he was like 300 plus.
Dude, he looked huge. Anthony looked like a small guy in front of him. Sorry, not Anthony. Tyrone looked like a small guy in front of him.
Oh, man. I mean,
Tyrone fights a heavyweight too. He is the WBC Latino champion.
is it
Yep.
boxing?
Boxing, yep.
Okay.
So he's a professional boxer and a kickboxer.
He looked good in the boxing exchanges for sure.
Right.
But and then he hasn't trained for MMA since 2013. This is his
I
third
think
fight.
this is
He's
his third
2-0.
MMA fight. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So it's always new when you kind of take a long gap from
Right.
training, especially
Yep.
for MMA. So yeah, it must have been new for him. But he looked like he trained really hard.
He
I
did.
just felt bad for the guy because obviously we were kind of rooting for him too.
Right.
And he looked really good with his boxing.
Yeah, he just
really
was
crisp.
outmatched, bro. I mean,
I feel for the
Sergey
guy,
was
man.
just so huge, and it looked like more like when Izzy fought Ian Blachowicz
Exactly.
at 205.
100%.
It
100%.
looked a lot like that. Even though Izzy was quick on his legs and on his feet, Ian eventually just took him down and
Yeah.
put him over there and just did ground and pound.
He took him
So,
down and
yep.
he controlled him. And Izzy
Yep.
tried to do the hip escape. He
Yep.
tried to, cage walk. He did whatever he could. But
Ian's just too
Ian
heavy,
was
man.
too big.
Just too big.
Yeah, there's a fine line between skill and then just bigger size.
Just being dominator, right? by
Can't
weight.
do much about that.
So coming to the first round of the match, Tyrone did everything right. He was throwing quick punches at Sergey, which Sergey didn't have an answer for. Sergey was eating those punches. Because Sergey was so huge, he could eat those punches. I think anyone else would have, wobbled a bit, but Sergey didn't.
Sergey, yeah.
And I think Tyrone, it was unfortunate for Tyrone when he went down. So when he threw that kick, Sergey caught it, and then he pushed Tyrone, right? And that made him slip.
It was a
wasn't
slip.
takedown.
Yeah, they called it a slip, I
Yeah.
think.
It
But
wasn't a proper takedown, but once he went down, Sergey just knew what he was supposed to do. Just bounce on him
Right.
and just stay over there.
I mean, Sergey came in with that game plan, right?
Yeah.
And he executed it to the T. His plan was to take this guy down and maul him and
Exactly.
control him on the ground.
Yep.
And he did that. He didn't do anything else fancy. That's why he was eating so many shots.
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to bait him into throwing a kick.
Right.
And Tyrone being a kickboxer, that's part of his repertoire.
Exactly.
He's gonna
Yep.
throw kicks.
Yep.
He's gonna set up a lot of his
Right.
combinations with the kicks. But I think that was his downfall because when he was throwing jabs and body shots and other
Yeah.
punches, he looked really good. And Sergey was losing those
Yep.
exchanges. But the kicks, as soon as Sergey caught the kick, he took him down,
Right.
and right away he was on him,
On him.
applied that pressure. Tyrone,
When that kind of weight is on your chest, it's so hard to breathe. And when you're not breathing, your muscles need oxygen, right?
yeah,
Yep. So lactic acid starts to build up in your muscles when you have no oxygen in your body. So after the first round, we could see the damage done to Tyrone.
Yeah, man, I felt bad for him. And then I was screaming at the TV, like, come on, use your hips, push off. But then as I'm watching him, I'm seeing him struggling to do that. He's actually trying. He wasn't trying to ride out the round.
Yeah.
He was fighting to get back up. But every time he would push, Sergey would just get another even stronger position. And at a point, he shoved his head down. Like, you're not going anywhere. Pushed him down on the mat.
With one hand, right?
Yeah, with one hand, man. And then he was giving him ground and pound.
Yeah.
So now you got a big guy on you. You're trying to push him off of you. You're trying to explode off your hips. You're trying to push off, keep his hips down. And he's ground and pounding you.
Right.
And he's heavy on your chest. And he's holding your head down. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot to ask. And even a veteran in the sport, it's hard to fight against someone that big.
Right. Coming into the second round, I don't know what switched on in Sergey. He was actually exchanging punches with Anthony. He was actually giving it back to him, and he was landing more punches than Tyrone. I keep saying Anthony. Tyrone, yeah. He was actually landing more punches than Tyrone because Tyrone was already tired.
Yeah.
So his punches and kicks did not have that kind of power that he had in the first round. And
he was gassed, right? He was so exhausted with just trying to recover.
Yep.
And after that point, like you said, he was gassed. His jabs didn't look as snappy.
Yep. And like you said, he had to retreat to his kickboxing, right? Like that's natural instinct for Tyrone. He's a kickboxer, so as soon as he threw that kick, which I think Sergey was waiting for, caught him again, took him down
right away.
It was a good stoppage, in my opinion. It was a good stoppage. I mean, there's nothing Tyrone could do.
Well, Tyrone's not going to tap. He's a fighter. He's going to go out on his shield. So it was a good stoppage for sure. I just wish we saw a little bit more of his stand-up because it looked like he had a lot to show. He worked really hard. You can tell even with his takedown defense, it was kind of limited, but I'm sure he trained very hard, and we just weren't able to see it.
Right. He also told in the post-fight interview, I did everything that I could to
it's just unfortunate
prepare for this fight. I was just outmatched.
It wasn't that he just fought a better fighter. He also fought someone who's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I think if he stayed at maybe
and Sergey is a veteran as well. He's got 48 fights under his belt.
Yeah, I think his record was 31-8 before coming into this fight.
Yeah.
So definitely over 40 fights. But man, it was just unfortunate.
Wrestling, man. I mean, if you know wrestling, if you have wrestling in your arsenal, you got a good chance of winning.
Yeah. I think even if you know wrestling, with that kind of size advantage, it's hard to,
even Ian, right? Ian's wrestling is not that great, but when he fought Izzy, it looked like his wrestling is better.
Yeah.
Very good,
Izzy, he doesn't get enough credit, but he has very, very good takedown defense. Very good takedown defense.
Definitely.
And
we saw it against who was that? What's his name? Paulo Costa, right?
Yeah.
Paulo Costa tried taking him down a couple of times, but Izzy just stopped him on his feet.
He was so quick with it, and he knows how these guys are setting up. If you're not setting up your takedown very, very effectively, Izzy's going to pick that apart. And he sees these guys. He knows what their game plan is. But
props to Tyrone, man. I mean, he did everything he could possibly do in that fight. Just for the outmatch, wasn't a night.
I think if he does decide to make a return, he should stick to light heavyweight, just to keep his weight down as well as his opponents, so they're restricted. I mean, hopefully, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like he'd do a lot better.
I think he will do a lot better at light heavyweight. Yep.
Yeah. But
let's see. I mean, good future for both of them. I mean, in the post-fight interview, they asked Sergey if he wants to come back to fight again. He's like, even though he was saying so much in Russian, there was a point where Chael was like, Sergey, enough is enough. Just stop.
Enough, Sergey.
Stop now.
Enough, Sergey.
That's the first time I actually heard a commentator stop a fighter from talking.
He took Henry's mic and then he took the translator's mic.
And Henry did not even protest. He just saw what he did to Tyrone.
Yeah.
And he was like, take my mic, do whatever you want.
I'm not going to fight this man, dude. If he wants it, he can have it. Let's take it. And then you just hear Chael in the back going, okay, Sergey, enough, Sergey. That's enough.
That was funny. I think Sergey does want to come back to fight for Khabib in EFC.
He does?
And why not? You know, I mean, if he's going to fight like that, I mean,
if he's getting opponents that are that much smaller than he's going to keep dominating them. But he looked good for heavyweight. He didn't look lethargic. He didn't look slow. He looked quick. He was fast on his feet. His jabs looked pretty good,
And like you were speaking of fight IQ a while ago, right? His fight IQ is amazing as well. He knew the Tyrone was a kickboxer. He knew those kicks were gonna
Yeah.
come. He just set him up, got those kicks, got those legs, and took him down.
Yeah,
Yep.
very smart fighter and very dominant fighter.
Yeah. I think in the post-fight interview, they asked Khabib which two fighters actually surprised him. He said Sergey and Reebok. They both displayed really good skills.
Yeah. I mean, Ray Borg is one of the fighters that a lot of fans recognize, but to see him display the boxing the way he did was unexpected. Especially that gut shot, man. I haven't seen that too often in MMA.
Yep.
And the way he landed it so sharp and quick. It was such a fast, accurate punch.
And you got to give props to his heart, right? I mean, he after the first round, I mean, he still came back. He's like, I'm not gonna give up.
He didn't give up on himself.
Even though he wasn't finding his rhythm, he was not gonna give up. He's like, I'm gonna stand here. I'm gonna fight in rhythm.
Yeah.
And so he did.
He dominated. And then Sergey, bro, props to this man. He spoiled the upset.
Actually, Tyrone was supposed to fight Bigfoot Silva.
Oh God.
And that fell through the cracks. That didn't happen because of some contract issues, I think, or some injuries. I don't know. But yeah, and then Sergey took his place.
Yeah, I mean,
which Khabib said was even better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he definitely gave an exciting fight. I think Tyrone just needs to fight a little bit at a lighter weight. Like I said, light heavyweight would be perfect for him. I feel like.
So too. Yeah. This does not take away anything from Tyrone, though. I mean, he's still a really good fighter.
No, absolutely not. He didn't give up.
Yep.
And you can see he was fighting. He did what he could.
Yep.
And a lot of other guys would have, quit much sooner. He didn't quit on himself. He didn't quit. He just, got outweighed.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, all in all, great fight. This was a great fight as well. I mean, all the fights were exciting. I mean,
Amazing
the whole
card.
main card was really good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the night, about the commentating? Let's go to the commentating.
Oh,
the
man,
legends.
that was fun, man. That was fun to
Kamaru's, Chael, and Henry, bro. I mean,
it was fun to listen to those guys. They looked like they were just, friends having a good time, and they didn't seem like they were working. They're just having fun and genuinely enjoying the fights.
Yep.
And you could see that in them because the fights were actually very exciting.
Right.
It gave that ruggedy, like that raw feel of how the UFC was hosting those Fight Island fights with very few people in the crowd, and you can hear every thud and punch and every, even the corners you can hear.
I think the gate was like 250 people. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't seem like there were a lot of people there.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is good. So I mean, and some of the fighters were actually partners of these guys, right? I mean, they actually trained with Kamaru and Chael and Henry. Some of the fighters fighting on the main card. So that was exciting to see as well. I mean, they talking about those fighters and giving us a little bit of history of those fighters. So
yeah, like Kamaru was talking about Ramzan, and then he was talking about
Anthony as well.
Anthony, yes, and then also Rashad Evans.
Yes,
so
of course.
Yeah, it was fun to hear their take on these fighters and give a little more insight on where they're from and all that, their background. It was fun.
What do you think about the event itself? Khabib's first event in America.
Man, it was awesome actually.
Yeah.
I would love to. I think it's amazing that there's broadcasting these fights free,
Right?
Because it brings more eyes to the promotion.
Definitely.
These weren't some
and these were great fights.
They were
bro.
good
I would have
fights.
paid to see these fights.
That's what I was so surprised about. They were actually really good, competitive. The matchmaking was amazing on this. Whoever did the matchmaking,
Definitely.
props to them. Keep it up because they did really good matchmaking.
It was no less than one of the pay-per-view fights for UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There have been some UFC cards that aren't even this good, honestly.
Exactly, yeah.
And this one was really good. Exciting from start to end.
So-
Maybe only one fight, the Ramzan. I'm just...
That was exciting too,
It was
bro.
good.
It's
I'm just
that-
disappointed.
Yeah.
He had so much more to show.
Exactly.
It's funny that in a win we're complaining.
Yeah.
Because we know how much this guy
And
has.
a dominant win, not even like a close win.
He had so much to show, and he only used maybe 10% of his game. So
It's true.
maybe he needs a more challenging opponent.
Maybe.
That would bring out more of his tools.
It's true.
But,
Maybe.
Yeah. All in all, the fights were great. The event looked good.
They asked Khabib in the interview, in the post-fight interview, I think, how was the experience? What was the... they asked him how was the experience. He was like, when I woke up that morning of the event, I felt like I was going to fight. The way he feels every time before the fight, he had the same feeling for the for the tournament.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine, man. It's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure, and then I know him and Dana White were going back and forth with who's if he's gonna help him, if he's not, and Dana
Right.
White's like, yeah, I'd help him out if he really wants, but he's gonna learn the hard way.
Right. And I think the reporter asked him, was it any easy? He was like, nothing was easy.
Yeah.
Dana was right. Nothing
he-
was easy.
Yeah, I mean, he said Dana White's been in the game for over 20 plus years, and
Yep.
he has,
And when people compare, like when people go to Dana with, is this going to be a threat? I mean, come on, bro. Be realistic. It's like Dana coming into fighting, right? And how's that gonna make Khabib feel? He's not gonna care because I mean, if Dana tomorrow wants to fight for lightweight 155, how's Khabib gonna feel? He's
I'm
like,
sure a lot of the fighters would love for him to fight because they want to,
right.
give them.
But then,
Yeah.
but then, how's Khabib gonna feel? He's not gonna feel threatened at all, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna care.
So it's the same thing. Dana's been in the business for like 30 years now. I mean, with Khabib coming with his own promotion,
There's enough.
there's no threat.
There's
to
enough
Dana.
for
Yeah,
everyone to
exactly.
go around.
I think the whole point of Khabib having this promotion is so that he can propel these fighters to go into UFC and showcase their skills.
Yeah, that could be it, or it could be that EFC does so well because it's
never know,
tailor
no.
made toward to the fighters.
Yeah.
Like all the fighters, they were raving about it, and Khabib genuinely cares about the fighters
Right.
and their experience. He asked them directly
Oh,
what
yeah,
their
you're right.
takeaways were,
Yep.
what did they not like, what he can
Yep.
do differently next time, if they're comfortable, if their safety was in in place. Everything he made sure the fighter was taken care of first.
Yep.
So with that mindset, like fighters like Kevin Lee,
Yeah.
the man's in his prime.
Right.
He made the jump to EFC, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Only
if
because Khabib actually made a new division altogether, 165.
Exactly.
Which so many fighters have been asking for so long now.
Yeah, because he knows what the fighters want.
Yep.
He knows what the fighters are looking at because he's been at the top of the
Yep.
game. So, I
I
don't know.
Almost
like,
killed themselves making weight, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, and to give them a comfortable way to fight at their natural weight, I think
Right.
it goes a long way.
Yeah. So I mean, like I know what you're saying. Like he is giving them a platform for them to show their skills and then hopefully maybe get signed to the UFC. But you never know, man. If the UFC goes at this rate, it
Right.
could be at that level of
Yep.
UFC.
I think Khabib even mentioned in the pre-fight interview, right? And what's that called? What's the ceremony called?
The post-fight interview or
Pre-fight.
like
Yeah, it's called the pre-fight interviews,
The
yeah.
pre-fight interview.
The conference, sorry.
Oh, the conference, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the fight conference. He said, I think one of them asked him about the controversies going on in UFC about fighter pay and UFC not treating the fighters right. So Khabib's like, UFC needs to make sure they treat their fighters right. Otherwise, the fighters are going to just leave. And there's so
Yeah.
many promotions coming up now. So
He's
we're
like
all
the
ready
EFC
to have them. Yep.
Yeah, he's like the EFC is here.
Yep. And then he said, one of the fighters asked him, Tony, why not? Why not Tony?
That would
We
be
are here for
crazy.
him.
That would
Yep.
be so crazy.
Yep.
25 for the UFC.
Exactly.
Man,
So yeah, I mean, definitely a bright future for EFC as well.
100%, 100%. And also, I think it does. It's good for creating more like competition.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes competitive. Now, these organizations have to bring their A game
Yep.
when they're bringing these cards, and
Right.
they're trying to promote their promotions. They have to do a good job because
Yeah.
the EFC is here now. And it increases the competition
Definitely.
throughout.
Yep.
So I think the fans win regardless.
Right.
And I think more fans are going to start looking into EFC and following the
You know what I
EFC
was
and their
thinking?
fighters.
With these Dagestani fighters, especially taking over fighting, and Khabib being from Dagestan himself, he can get those fighters very
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
So and with that kind of fighting, and people love to see a good fight and
Yeah.
good skill. So
Yeah.
so definitely EFC is a good horse in the run, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
And Khabib's doing a good job of not only just bringing Dagestani,
Yeah.
Russian fighters, but he's bringing fighters from all over, like
Yep.
the best of the best. He's
Yep.
trying to get actually the best.
Yep.
So, yeah, I am.
Sometimes when you're a good fighter and you're signed with UFC, you don't get the right style or right matchup at times,
Yeah.
which doesn't really bring out the best in you.
Right.
So I think Khabib is doing a good job by taking those fighters and giving them the potential fight where they can actually showcase themselves.
Yeah, the matchmaking was really good for this card,
Matchmaking
so
was really good,
hopefully
exactly.
it stays the same way for the next one and so on. Yeah, like you said, sometimes fighters in the UFC they just don't get to show their
True
full
talent,
game.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's-
yeah, all in all, a great event. Any suggestions on this first
Suggestions?
event?
I don't know. I didn't have much to complain about. I was
Yeah.
entertained the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire card I was entertained.
Yeah. So, like you said as well, Khabib focused more on what's comfortable for the fighters than on the viewers, I think.
Maybe.
The walk was not too long. It was a short
There's no
walk.
fancy
there was
walk.
No
It was very
music.
short, yeah.
Yep. So there was less entertainment from outside and more entertainment focused only on the fights. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean, they weren't showing any like the backstage stuff,
Right.
behind the scenes, anything.
Yep,
So
yep.
I get what you're saying in that aspect. But he kept it like an old school type.
Yeah, exactly.
Like almost like like competition.
Yep,
You
yep.
know.
I think in one of the interviews, like this is like a month ago from the event, I think it was with Brett Okamoto, and he asked him like, what are his plans for EFC, and he said he wants to make it like NFL and NBA.
At that level.
At that level,
Man.
I don't know.
Big
and
ambitions.
he said he wants to change the system a bit. So I don't know if he's talking about like team fights or your organization versus a different organization. The best from your organization with the best of the other organizations. So I don't know what he meant by that, but he said he's changing a few things in the system. And eventually his plan is to get it to the Olympics, MMA. He wants to
man.
get MMA recognized at the level of Olympics.
I mean, MMA should be at the Olympics at this point. There's so many crazy, amazing, talented fighters.
So Khabib was the athlete of the year, right? In 2019 when he won with Justin Gaethje and he retired. That
Right.
year he was the fighter of the year or the athlete of the year, and he was on the cover page. So if
No way.
an MMA fighter is on the cover page of the athlete of the year, then that definitely calls for MMA to be in the Olympics.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. They should definitely consider it.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's going to be a Russian takeover probably again. So maybe that's what they're reluctant.
Probably.
Overall, great card. Great first showing in the United States.
Yep.
And
Definitely looking forward to the next event. And which is
100%.
on March 11th. right?
March 11th,
The
Kevin-
EFC 45?
I guess, yeah,
Yes,
it's going to be
EFC
45.
Yep. And that has Kevin Lee
Kevin Lee,
on the main
man,
card
it's exciting. That's
at
exciting.
165, yeah. Do you know who he's fighting yet? Or
He's fighting another UFC fighter.
really? That's in
who's
decided already?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they
So,
showed in
yeah.
So Khabib had these interviews before the UFC 44.
Okay.
The same week, it was
Okay.
fight week. I'm forgetting who he fought, but that fighter is like 40 years old. He's also...
We'll probably do a video on that as well for that event. Yeah.
believe he's fighting Diego Sanchez.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to look into it. Anyway, all in all, EFC 44 was an amazing card.
Amazing card.
Yep.
Good card. Good fights. Lots of action.
Yep.
Nothing to sleep on at all.
right.
100% would watch another event. So, like if it was like this, I would definitely watch it start to finish.
Yep, me too.
You know.
Okay.
And that is a wrap. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the EFC Hour. We hope you enjoyed listening.
Leave us your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below, and please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Tag Khabib Nurmagomedov and see you on the next episode of
The EFC Hour.